is it so hard for us to see that Allah's miracle? There was so much on my mind in my bed I lay. I turned to my side and I heard a voice say, stop all your whining, heart rate's declining. You've got so much more than most.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We beseech blessing on millions of mankind Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We ask him to continue to shower his blessing on the Prophet, his household, companions, and the generality of Muslims. Brethren, wherever you are listening to us, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We seek our indulgence for starting the due to unforeseen circumstances. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make today's program a success. As we all know, this is the program Islam and you coming to it live from the stable of 103.1 Unilag FM, and we are here to discuss another important topic to be directed by our father, Sheikh Dr. Bashir, a lecturer in the Faculty of Art, Department of Religious Study, also the Noble Imam in the Unilag Muslim community. Is no other person than our father, Sheikh Dr. Bashir Abdul Rahim, Hafizahullah Wara. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to lengthen his life upon goodness and righteousness. I remain sorry, Muhammad Sani Allah, and I'm saying Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Due to what is going on in the Muslim world today, the birth of the Prophet, though some people propagate the birth of the Prophet and why some people propagate it. If we observe very well, during the birth of Prophet Muhammad, there are a lot of things that happen whereby some people said when his mom is going in the town, the bird will be bowing, so will be happening. Due to this situation, what can you give us, since we are here to educate the populace about Muhammad and Islam? What are the situation of the Arabian Peninsula before the birth of Prophet Muhammad? Are they worshipping Allah or they are not worshipping Allah? If they are not worshipping Allah, what were they worshipping then? Now,
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين محمد بن عبد الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن اقتدى بقدوتهم إلى يوم الدين أما بعد. We thank Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, the Lord of the universe. We thank him, we praise him, we give him glory. We beseech him to shower his blessing upon our Prophet Muhammad
sallallahu alaihi wasallam,
his household, his companion, and those who follow the path of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam left behind to the day of resurrection. Actually, we are in the 4th month of Islamic calendar, which is Rabiul Awwal. Rabiul Awwal is a special month in the sense that if you want to go by the memory lane, we discovered that the entire world was on the verge of collapse, because 570, when Prophet Isa alayhi salatu salam, Jesus, when he had been taken to the heaven, there was no a prophet to guide the entire mankind, and the entire world was in shambles when disorder, savage, and the rest of them. And for the mercy of Allah, Allah has made a promise. Allah has taken a covenant on himself that I will guide my servant. So the mercy of Allah made Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala to bring a prophet from the Arabs. You know, all the past prophets, they were Jews. So, which has made the Jews to be a civilized people than Arabs. But Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala decided to take the kingdom to somewhere else. And that is where Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was born. And Allah in the Holy Quran, there's where Allah wa ta'ala mentions this mercy. Allah say, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. في سورة آل عمران واعتصموا بحبل الله جميعا ولا تفرقوا واذكروا نعمة الله إذ كنتم أعداء فألف بين قلوبكم فأصبحتم بنعمته إخوانا وكنت على شفا حفرة من النار فأنقذكم. Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala was mentioning His mercy on the Muslims, on the Arabs. That is, this Islam is for you. Hold on to it together.
ولا تتفرقوا.
You should not cause disunity among you.
واذكروا نعمة الله عليكم.
Remember the mercy of Allah on you.
إذ كنتم أعداء.
When you used to be enemy to one another before.
فألف بين قلوبكم.
And Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala reconcile among your soul. Allah bring your soul together. Allah put love among you.
فأصبحتم بنعمة إخوانا.
And out of mercy of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, you were enemy before, but suddenly you turn to be brothers. So this is the mercy of Allah that we're talking about. So this makes this month of Ramadan, month of Rabiul Awwal, a special month. That is, it was a month when Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala decided to save the entire mankind from this everlasting destruction by giving the power, or by giving the power that Muhammad sallallahu was born. And Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was an Arab. Definitely, if Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala wants to send a prophet, that prophet has to come from a particular clan. So, but Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was an Arab. Why? The wisdom. Why did Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala decide to bring Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam from Arab? Listen to this out of the Quran. Huwa alladhi ba'atha fil
ummiyina rasulan minhum yatlu alayhim ayatihi wa yu'allimuhum
al-kitaba wal hikma wa yuzakkihim wa in kanu min qabli lafi dalalin mubin. Look at what Allah said there. So, reason why Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala brought Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The word ummiyun there mean unlettered, that those who are not civilized. So Allah say he rose. Yes, that is, he raised a prophet. He raised a prophet among them, because the Arabs want to see what was the decision of Arabian Peninsula before the death of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Arabian Peninsula was in a thick darkness, barbarism in different way. Let's look at their religious affairs. Their religious affairs, Arabs, they have about 365 gods. They have big gods, apart from the smaller one. They have big gods. They have Ubal, Lata, Manata, and Unza. These are the one big, and they were situated in different locations in the Arabian Peninsula. Apart from that one, they also have smaller one. Apart from that one, we have some of them who worship sun, some of them worship water,
dates.
Some of them date. Even though to the extent that it was so funny, to the extent that a man would just consider date that is meant to be a food. He will consider it to be his Lord, and he will place it. My Lord, I'm going out to provide what I'm going to eat for me. If you fail to provide what I'm going to eat, by the time I come back, I'll come and eat you. No, you can see that the brain of Arab was so low to that extent. That is the area. Even though they used to sacrifice, they used human being as a sacrificial animal for this Lord, for their lords. So let us come to their social life. In their social life was also shoot in shambles, disorder, disarray, because there is tribalism. Arabs, they were known for that tribalism. That is why they could not operate a centralized government, because each tribe believe in the chief of his tribe, i.e., to the extent that no clan, no tribe can control a member of another tribe. So that is why one of the Arab poets, just to buttress that the tribalism is in their blood, he said that wahali ana illa mina gashiyatin gawat gawaitu wa intari shudu gasiyat al shudu. Only as you are looking at me, I'm nobody except Garcia. Garcia happened to be his clan. So if Garcia goes astray, I will go astray. If Garcia go on the right path, I will go on the right path. So they also have a slogan: Unzur akwaka zolima masuma. Assist your brother if he oppresses or is being oppressed. So once it is from your clan, you must assist him. You must have to support him. So that is the tribalism. Apart from that one, war, incessant war, because Arab by the nature they had little patience. That is the why some of them contested the word of jahili. You know, we normally translate that word jahili as ignorant. They said no, it was not ignorant, because then during that period there was element of education, because prose and poem, when you see their poem, is fantastic. So those who could compose poem, those who could compose prose, definitely they were not uncivilized. So they believe that the word jahil means annoyance, okay, little patience. So Arabs, because of that nature, a lot of war, they fought many wars, because they could not they could not bear with their brothers. There's one they fought for almost 40 years. That's Angabura on Philip's excuse. So that is that one. Another thing is the vengeance. If you kill my father, I will make sure that I kill you in return, because they will believe that somebody who kills my father, if I didn't avenge for the death of my father, the spirit of my father will never have a rest. So as a result of that, if you kill my father, I must make sure that I kill you in return. Apart from that one, what about a kind of they practice what people has never practiced in the world? That is what they call, polyandry, polygamy. So Arab practice polyandry, where a woman can marry about 3 or 4 or 5 husbands. Can you imagine? A woman, I have never read it in any culture, but in the culture of Arab, it was practiced. A woman will marry 2 or 3 husbands, and these 3 husbands or 4 husbands, they will know that they will be competing over one woman, and eventually if that woman is pregnant, so it is the woman who is going to determine the paternity of that baby. Apart from that one, there's also practice another one. If you discover that in your clan, you don't have any popular person, you don't have a courageous man, and in a particular clan there is a courageous person, a popular someone, a man will now ask his wife to go and sleep with that man. Can you imagine? So if the wife is pregnant, the husband, the original husband, will not claim the child. That is because we want somebody in our family who is going to take the glory. Look at that life. So apart from that one, they can consume alcohol. When they consume alcohol, they started now, even though through consumption of alcohol, that's where the crisis brews. Because after if they are intoxicating, so the next thing is to start abusing their father, because they Arab by the nature they have pride in their. They said it. Pride is in their blood. That is the why all the pre-Islamic era poets, when you go through their poem, you see that pride there. I can't remember vividly, but there are some. When I can't remember the name of that poet, when he was saying that when a child is weaned in our family, the commander of a particular family, they'll bow down for him, for that child. Look at that. A child is weaned, it's just his mother has just taken breast from that child. Then that's it. The commander in a particular clan, when they see that child, that infant boy, they will bow down for him. That's what they call Faru Kabali. So that is that in the area of their social life. Another thing that in the area of our social life is that okay, they they believe in sorcery. So when they want to travel, either there are some, we talk about Setiu and another one. They have those one. They are not just like they are just like a demon, but they are not, they are human being, but they are not human being per se. Like Setiu, they're talking about Setiu. He has no any bone in his body. The only bone there is that of skull. So this Setiu, they will go to, just like Yoruba will call it sign. So this Setiu will be telling them the future, but they have the ability of listening to Allah when Allah Tabaraka says something. So it has become a custom for Arabs that if they want to embark on anything at all, they have to consult the sorcerer to tell them. So in the area of economy, very bad, because what was in vogue then was interest, usury, money lender, to the extent that some people, the poor people, continue to be poor, while the rich people continue to be rich.
The rich get richer, while the poor get poorer.
So because somebody who has money, by the time you lend a poor man money, you have to pay back, and then the interest rate is going to be very high, to the extent that the borrower will not be able to pay back the money. So in that case, the borrower will lose his property. Some lose their wife, because if he could not pay back, he will now send the wife for that woman. That one will not be using the wife as a slave, or the children as a slave. Another area of Arab, God, we are saying this so that we cannot appreciate the work done by Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So another thing is that women to them has no value. Reason is this: they believe that women, they cannot defend the title of their father, they can't defend their clan, because during the war they can't go to war. So they are just like what they call a prisoner of war, WOP. So POW, prisoner of war. So that's the women, because as a sort of that, and they believe that women generally, they were responsible for their bad luck, because they feared of lack of sustenance. You understand? That is a famine. How would I be able to get money to cater for? And then they believe that when there's a population, they will not be able to cater. And then who is responsible for having population? Women. As a result of that, they don't like women. So they can ask women to be dancing. Normally they will go to the Kaaba. Women will be dancing naked, and they'll be looking at her. So one of them, if any one of them, Quran describe them, if any one of them gives birth to a female child, Quran described them that he will see that mess of Allah as a stigma on him, to the extent that if a man is informed that your wife has just put to bed, and if he inquires what male or female, I said female, he will run out, he will run away. They will never see him again. So at the end of the day, if that female girl gets to age of puberty, they will go and bury it alive. So that was called the practice child infanticide. So these are many more at the situation of Arabian Peninsula before Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was born. So that signifies that community need to be what? To be saved. So you can understand, you can appreciate the advent of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or the giving birth to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in that community, because a community that was in shambles, like ours today, when the writing was not recognized. So because the Arab then in their community, they also have a slogan: the might is right. You understand? Once you have power, you are right. You can do anything. So I don't want to paint them black, but they also have a good character. But one of their character is that they were hospitable people. Arab they can't joke with hospitality. So one of their good character is they are very, very brave. They were known for that. They're very brave. They were known for bravery. So these are they have good character, and hospitality, they were known for that one. So they can't do without giving hospitality. So this is a scenario of Arabian Peninsula before the birth of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu.
Before the birth of Prophet Muhammad. Jazakumullahu khairan to all our listeners. We thank our father for what he explained and how he explained it. So my question now, before we go to the life of the prophet, before he was called to prophethood, I want to ask, do we still can we still find such situation in our Muslim world today? Can we still find it, such as sorcerer, the alcoholism, the infanticide?
You say the practice of Jahiliyyah.
Can we still find it in our?
It still exists in our contemporary. Yes, it does. When you look Nigeria, for example, you discover that what you have just said about the Arabian Peninsula is a common practice in our society today. Killing. Do you know the number of people who have been killed every day?
Bandits.
Recently, I saw it on social media. A man who was caught with head of a human being and he now led them to the person in charge, and that one they call him Afa. Okay, so and got into his house. They discovered about 12 people who were chained down, waiting for the time of using them. So look at that one, and then look at the killing. Look at the insecurity in the northeast, in the northwest, in the north central. Look at the kidnapping cases. Then fornication. What are you talking about? Look at alcohol. Go to everywhere now. You will now be seeing the hotel being opened there and
legalized.
There. When I got to Lagos in '86, I hardly see all these clubhouse around. You just see beer parlor. Beer parlor were not even being patronized very well. Then Nigeria was quite good, unlike now. But go around Lagos, you see clubhouse open there and there. What are the yahoo? What are they doing? So you discover that even though sorcery, all those things that are common, you discover that Nigeria's situation now, the only difference in our situation now is that there is Islam. When they're doing that Arab, there was no Islam. But what Arab of Jahiliyyah used to do, the only thing that we didn't do again is that we don't practice child infanticide, because if you do that one, you'll be arrested. You can't kill human being. So, but you discover that there is a correlation. There is a correlation of what happened in Arabian Peninsula before the birth of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and our society today. Look at the interest rate. Look at Nigeria as a country. So the debt that Nigeria is in World Bank, IMF, and the rest of them is as a sort of interest. And you know that interest kills the lower people. Interest kills the economy of poor nations. So you can see the interest. And the Arabs, before the birth of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they allowed that interest. So you can see that in our present situation, we still perceive the traces of Jahiliyyah period.
Alhamdulillah for that, sir. What about the life of the prophet before his prophethood, before he was called to prophethood?
Alhamdulillah, it's a common something that all of us will have known, that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was born on the 12th of Rabiul Awwal. Even though when he migrated on 12th Rabiul Awwal, he got to Medina 12th Rabiul Awwal. Everything he did 12th Rabiul Awwal. Even though when he died on the 12th Rabiul Awwal. So the Muhammad sallallahu was born 12th Rabiul Awwal 570 and non-dominant. And he was born in Mecca, and he was born 7 months after the death of his father. So therefore Muhammad sallam was a posthumous child. So Abiyara la Nabi. So a child that was born without meeting his father alive, in Yoruba language they would call him Abiyara. So Prophet Muhammad was a posthumous child, and his mother was Amina, daughter of Wa. So his grandfather Abdul Muttalib was the one who named him Muhammad. The word Muhammad then, it was a name that was not common among Arab. So the word Muhammad means the praised one. We discovered that today Muhammad remained to be praised than anybody in the world. So the praised one. So Muhammad, it was grandfather that named him Muhammad. So his grandfather, the love that the grandfather had for the father of Prophet Muhammad sallam, the grandfather Abdul Muttalib transferred that love to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So when Muhammad was 6 years old, he lost his mother because his mother went out to show the grave of his father to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But when they were coming back, so the mother fell sick and he died as a result of that. So when Muhammad sallallahu was 8 years old, he lost his grandfather. His grandfather Abdul Muttalib died. But before Abdul Muttalib died, he has advised Abu Talib, who happened to be the uncle of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu, in case if I die, I want to put this child, this orphan, in your care. You know, Muhammad half orphan when he was born. At the age of 4, he became a complete orphan. Even though Halima to Saidi, you know, the Arabs, they had a practice. What was that practice? Is that people living in urban area, they prefer their children to be brought up in rural area for 2 reasons. Reason number 1, so that they can learn original language. You understand? They can learn original Arabic language. They can speak original language. Number 2, they believe that the weather in the rural area is always clean, always neat, calm, and then which will prevent a child from various sickness. So that, as a result of that, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam also went through that process. He was taking care. They will call it wet nurse. So we say maybe Halima, maybe she breastfed Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam because that's what that thing sound. But Halima took Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam when Muhammad was 2 years old, and by then, if Muhammad was 2 years old, by then he should have been weaned from breastfeeding. But majority, all of us, we know that he was breastfed by Halima. So when Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam got to their town, everything changes for good for them. So at the age of 4, Halima returned Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to Amina, and at the age of 6, Amina Muhammad
complete orphan.
Became a complete orphan. So his uncle Abu Talib, who took care of him, was a very poor man with a large number of families. So Muhammad has to, contend with the life lived by his uncle. His uncle loves him like grandfather. Understand? His uncle took care of him. His uncle happened to be a trader. So as a result of that, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam also learned how to trade, because sometimes he used to accompany his uncle to Sham to buy and sell. Even though when he was 12 years old, something happened. They were going to Sham. Sham today is Syria. So while they were going there in Sham, Syria, that's where we have monks. We have monks. All the people in Sham then, they were Jews or Christian. So when Muhammad was following his uncle, they got to a town called Busra. The town called Busra. That town, there was a monk there. That monk, his name was Buhaira. So the Abu Talib and his traders, they have been going to that town without being welcomed by this monk, because the Jew, they didn't give any recognition to Arabs, because they used to look at them as somebody who are very loyal to them. So, but the day that Muhammad sallam followed them, it was this monk Buhair that came out from his hermit to come and welcome the Abu Talib. They were so surprised, and he said that he had seen this. What that man said was that this boy was an orphan. He said, how did you know that he was an orphan? Yeah, I know, because as we are coming from far, I've seen sign of prophethood from him. You know, there are some people, when they see you, they can tell, they can say something about your future, about you. So it was that Buhaira that advised Abu Talib that he should not continue that journey. Okay? I'm afraid of this boy. This boy is not just ordinary person. There are other monks like me who can also see what I've seen about him, but it's going to be very dangerous for this boy. So as a result of that, Abu Talib now took that advice and he turned back to Makkah. So Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam learned from his uncle the art of trading. Also Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam also engaged in Katuriani pastoralship. He engaged in it. So as Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as he was growing, people becoming aware of his character. You know, right from his home, Abu Talib liked him because Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam demonstrated an uncommon character, uncommon good character, a fascinating, charming, irresistible character. Muhammad sallallahu demonstrated it. So the same that character, you know, reflected upon him among the Arabs, to the extent that they look at him as a special person. To the extent, instead of calling him Muhammad, they stopped calling him Muhammad, they started calling him Al-Amin. Al-Amin means the trustworthy, because they have never seen a single soul who has demonstrated such lofty character as demonstrated by Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Alhamdulillah for that. Having explained the life of the Prophet, I want to ask this last question before we call it a day. What were the challenge faced by the Prophet? Did the Prophet face any challenge before he was called to prophethood, or is it after he was called to prophethood that he faced challenge?
Maybe let us inform our listener that throughout this month of Rabiul Awal, we shall be dissecting the life of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It's going to serve as a education, because as a Muslim we need to be educated about the life of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It's very bad if you say you're a Muslim and you cannot say one or two things about the life of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then how are you going to emulate him? And it is very compulsory for every Muslim to emulate Prophet Muhammad sallallahu, because Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala himself calls for that. You have to emulate this man. You understand? So I think we should not rush ourselves, because there's a lot of things that to say. That question, maybe we should keep that question to the next.
It's another topic
on Yom Juma, because we are discussing the life of Prophet Muhammad before prophethood. You understand? Because when we are talking about the trader, because I was saying that Muhammad became popular among the Arabs. What endeared that popularity to him is his character. To the extent that Khadija happened to be a widow, and she was very wealthy woman, a respectable woman among the Arabs. When she heard about the trustworthiness of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, she was fascinated, and she requested that Muhammad should come and join her in her business. And Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam agreed to act as a sales rep under Khadija. And how Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam coordinated himself, how he traded with Khadija, impressed Khadija to the extent that Khadija has forgotten that she was older than Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Somebody who was 40 years old, and Muhammad sallallahu was 25 years old. You understand? Khadija, that many people were looking to marry her, and she refused that she would remain without husband till her death. All of a sudden, she changed her mind, because it meant that character of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was not common. Nobody has ever exhibited that character in Arabian Peninsula before Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Because if there was other people, Adija wouldn't have been fascinated by that character. Somebody of 40 years age, not that he proposed, like some people say he proposed to marry Muhammad. I read it, but not that he proposed, because as a woman you have to keep your dignity. But Adija used to rhapsodized about Muhammad, used to be mentioning Muhammad some time over and over. So Nafisa, who happened to be a friend to Khadija, got to know that a friend was interested in Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So it was Nafisa who now approached Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Hey, your boss, she's interested in you. If you are interested in her, you can get married with her. And then Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam now step forward, because as a human being, when somebody loves you, so it's unlike you and I. So it's like, how am I going to marry 40 years old and then widow for that matter? So the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam,
we don't emulate the prophet in that kind of.
People don't do that one. They'll be looking for 30 years old girl. Say, I want to emulate
and a
the Prophet
virgin.
sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So we are coming to that. Inshallah, you are coming to that. So Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam married Khadija. He was 25 years old, while Khadija was 40. Yeah, and then the marriage was blessed with all the children except one, that out of 7 children that Prophet Muhammad had, it was only one, Ibrahim, that was not given back to Khadija. And Khadija was a good wife to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So maybe in the next coming Yom Al-Jum'ah, we are going to talk about how Khadija, how she stood by Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. This is where we are going to call it a day, and we thank our father who happened to be the director of today's program, and we thank Allah who made today's program a success with the directive of our father Sheikh Dr. Bashir Abdul Rahim Hafizahullah. We thank all our father, Unilag Muslim Community, Professor M.A. Bidmus, Professor I.A. Musa, as well as resident Imam Dr. Mustafa, to the person who is behind bringing it up, bringing it down, Mr. Spencer, and to the person who always do what I'm doing here, Brother Ustaz Yahya Ahmad. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to ease his affairs wherever he is, and to all our listeners, we are saying a big jazakumullahu khairan to each and every one of you. Till we meet again next time, I remain Saudi Muhammad Sani Allah Kabi, and I'm saying Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum.